I hope you're ready for this because I tell you what, I read it and it's like the third time I've read through this chapter, and I can't say I'm 100% confident.
It is a lot. Now,
It's not hard.
No, it's not hard. I see where it's going, but it is highly structured. Once you get the structure down, it should go quickly. But until that happens, you're going to be slowed down in what do you call it? How am I going to put that? I don't want to say minutia, but in form.
The phases. So when I first read this book, when I first did a review on it, was it like a year or so ago? Whenever I got it on the old live stream, I struggled with this chapter the first time I read it until I put a couple pieces down and made my wife sit in front of me. And we did a couple of rounds of example combat, and then all of a sudden it just went bam. Okay, got it, done, good, easy, makes perfect sense. I think it's just like the phase chart when we get there. The way it's set up had me thrown off a little bit, but ultimately I liked it. My thing is where it gets a little complicated is as you get deeper into it, starts talking about the siege warfare and so forth. I'm like the airship warfare, and I'm like,
no, probably won't be doing that.
Yeah. Well, go get a Ravenslayer. Run. Anyway, all right. So go ahead and get us started.
All right. So, first thing, combat. I like how it says combat! ! That's good. When swords flash, missiles fly, and spells fire. In this game, combat is a dynamic abstraction that seeks to evoke the brutal, fast-paced action of pulp fiction, sword and sorcery tales. Typically, players declare their character's actions, referee resolves events in accordance with the character capability, the action/reactions, the opposition, and dice. The rules provide a structure by which these elements are resolved. Now
I'm going to foreshadow for a second here. There's something I love about this. What? Same thing that I loved about Earth Dawn.
Oh, you have to say what you're going to do.
Yes. You declare your action. And that slows the game down. No, it doesn't if you do it right. I don't know. I never ran into that problem. Anyway, I love the declaration of action.
Yep. All right, so combat involves several actors, player characters, non-player characters, and monsters. This is kind of everyone knows that. This is kind of okay, great. And we're going to move on. Combat typically entails melee, missile, magic, and or movement. Now, we're going to get to that in a second. My initial problem with movement when I first read this page, but we're going to get to that. So melee, this is hand-to-hand combat, close range combat. Okay, missile, this is long range combat. Magic, close and long range combat, but all of it with a magic bent.
Yeah, pretty much anything that is any sort of special ability or magic or
magic-like effect.
Yep.
Like a dragon breath or a basilisk gaze or a fireball or whatever. If it's magical in nature.
I saw somebody complain about this. This is a few months ago. I don't know if it was a blog or if it was on a video, but anyway, it blew my mind because why would magic be slower than melee weapon or missiles if it's just a command word? Well, first of all, it's not just a command word, fire necessarily. Okay, that's number one. Number two, imagine. Let's use the examples you just gave. The dragon, fire breath. It's cinematic. It isn't just fire comes out. No, the head comes back, the eyes light up, mouth opens, the giant roar comes out, and the flames follow. It's something like that. Think of it in a cinematic context. Turning isn't just like, I hold my holy symbol out and turn. It's like, no, the power of the Lord Cthulhu compels you. You will turn, beast of hell. Well, the person with the sword is like, yeah, okay.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. He doesn't take a whole lot of pomp and circumstance to swing a sword.
Right.
Yeah. And then movement. Here is where I found my problem. In my I initially went, to advance, run, or charge before using melee, missile, or casting spells, each combatant has a specified movement rate. This tells me that you can only move before your main action. That's what that says in English. You can only move before your main action.
I wonder if that's just referencing the charge. I don't know. Because I know what the rules are, so
But in English, it's all three.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, advance, run, or charge before using melee, missile, or casting spells. So when I first read this page, I was like, uh-oh, you can only move before your main action. Well, that's going to take a lot of tactics out of the game. You can't attack then move. You have to move before you attack, or you sacrifice your attack, or you sacrifice your movement. That's what this says to me.
Well, in one case, that is actually true.
Well, I'm sure the charge case is going to be it, because you can't, move and then charge.
Magic.
Oh, you have to do magic before your movement?
Yes.
See, I have a problem with that too, but
you cannot move after casting a spell.
That, I don't know why. It better explain it. Anyway, other potential actions. These are all things you can do in a round that will take an action, your main action. Bind an ally's wounds, force open a door, hide, jump over an obstacle, light a torch, sheathe a weapon, or draw another weapon. That one I have a problem with. But toss a rope.
Which one you have a problem with?
The sheathe a weapon, draw a weapon. That should not be considered an action. It should be like a free action, as long as it's not on the ground. If it's on your person,
draw maybe, but sheathe. Only weird ninjas and only in movies can sheathe their weapons instantly. Like everybody else has to. I mean,
has to guide it in with the other hand at least a little bit. Draw a weapon. It's literally made to be drawn quickly. That's what a sheath is for. It's not just to protect your weapon against the elements and to protect yourself from getting nicked by it. It's also
fair. This is just an action. This doesn't take up the entire round necessarily.
I know. But does it take your main action? Can you also attack if you draw a weapon that round? Let's find out. We're going to find out.
Yeah.
All right. Further actions are less clear and often require referee adjudication. For instance, a character who attempts to retrieve his ring of fire resistance from a pouch full of silver and gold coins might fish for 1d4 rounds before he finds the ring. But a potion of invisibility stored in a lightly packed backpack may require a single round to retrieve before it can be quaffed. Lastly, some actions may be considered negligible, dropping a backpack or torch, shouting a warning or instruction of a brief kind, and so forth.
What I like about this is he doesn't say exactly what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. So
he just says, hey, use your best judgment.
I know. That's why I felt a little happy about this, because now I could say, well, drawing a weapon is an inconsequential, or a negligible action.
And let's be fair, throughout this book, he's pretty much been like this anyway. It's your game now. Here are the rules as set in place.
Right.
You run it how you want. So.
Yeah. All right. So the attack roll. This is fun. I really like this because this whole game mechanic harkens back to the 1980s.
The original combat matrix, and then followed by THAC0. Yes.
Well, no. The 1980s game for Marvel superheroes. It had a table just like this.
Class X and so forth.
Yeah, I love it. Anyway, here we go.
But this is what first edition had too.
Yes. A d20 roll that determines whether an attack hits or misses. Almost every combatant has a chance to strike his opponent. Many attack rolls are modified by attributes such as strength and dexterity, special abilities, sorcery, other factors. If the referee deems it appropriate, all natural 20s roll automatically hit and all natural 1s roll automatically miss. That is not a hard and fast rule. That's up to the dungeon master.
My thing is, I would say be consistent.
Now,
I can actually see a case where a game master would say, look, for 90% of the fights, 99% of the fights, a 1 is going to be an automatic miss and a 20 is going to be an automatic hit. However, there may be the occasion where I'm not going to let you hit on a 20, even if it's a miss, simply because the creature is just that much more powerful and it's a hint to you to get the F out of there. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I can't see myself doing that. I'm just trying to rationalize something right now.
Right. Now, let's take a look at the combat matrix, because I love it. It's super fun. Now, there is no thinking involved. I mean, after a while of playing this game, you're just going to get it. Just like after a while, you're just going to get THAC0. You're just going to get it. Now, this will get you through the day until you get it. So you have a fighting ability between 0 and 12. Everyone and everything in this game has a fighting ability between 0 and 12.
And starting off, it's just 0 or 1.
Yeah, exactly. Your first level, you're either 0 or 1. Mostly 0, sometimes 1. There you go. And the thing is, you don't need to know your opponent's armor class. Let's say you have a fighting ability of 5. You're a 5th level fighter. I'll just say
that'd be a 4th level fighter, but yeah.
Okay, 4th, fine, whatever. 4th level fighter. And you have a fighting ability of 5, and you roll on your d20 a 16. You hit armor class -2 and better.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, I was wrong. It would be like
okay, thank you. You hit armor class -1 and better then. No, -2? Yeah. whatever. You rolled a 16. It's
if
negative
you,
one.
if you've got a fighting ability of 5.
Right. You roll a 16. You hit -1 and better.
Yep.
Now, the game master will tell you if you hit or missed. That's all. That's all you need to know. That's it. There's no funny calculations in your head. None of that nonsense. This game is very light on modifiers.
And
they do have them.
Oh,
they do have them. They have the modifiers. If you're super strong, super dexterous, you'll get modifiers to your armor class or your fighting ability, whatever. But if you adjust your fighting ability before you roll, or you add to your roll all these adjustments, you're fine. Your fighting ability is 5. You roll a 14, but you get a +2 because of strength. Okay, then you roll a 16.
Yep.
Now you hit armor class 1, -1 or better. Good on you.
And always remember, THAC0 minus die roll equals armor class hit.
Thank you.
That's from my video.
Yes, it is from your video. So the whole I roll this number, I don't know what it means. Yes, you do. You got a chart. It tells you exactly what it means.
And I honestly, I know some people look at this and get confused. I prefer this chart because it looks like a lot of numbers before you know how to use it.
Well, if you don't know how to use a chart like this, you're something wrong with your brain. Or you're 5.
Somebody who just opens a book and look like, oh God, what the hell is all this? Again, once it fits in with the rules, somebody shows you one time, you get it. But
if you have 2 fingers, you can read this chart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I actually prefer this overall to THAC0.
Yeah.
Because THAC0 is actual math. This is just a chart lookup. Yep. He said your fighting level's 5 or fighting ability is 5. You rolled a 16. So here's my 16. Let's go up. Oh, look at that. -1 or worse, which of course higher numbers are worse when it comes to armor class.
So -1 up to 10. Fine. Okay. That's what you hit. And if you say, and if the game master says, oh, you miss, that means your opponent is armor class -2 or greater. In this
Which is why some people use the excuse, just tell me the armor class.
No.
Because I'll figure it out in 3 rounds anyway.
Well, guess what? Figure it out. That's fine. I mean, that's what a fighter would do in combat, sizing up their opponent. The more you fight them, the more you can peg them down. The more you can gauge them as their fighting skill or level. So after 3 rounds, let's say a 16 misses, a 20 hits, a 19 hits, and a 17 misses. You know that person's armor class is between -3 and -4. Great. In those 3 rounds, you've narrowed down his skill or ability. Good job.
Now you're watching the wizard go, oh, why am I even here? I can't do anything. I already used my 2 spells today.
Well, no, if you're with a fighter who's got a fighting ability of 5, you probably have a wizard with a casting ability of 5, which means he's got more than 2 spells.
Right, but how many times have you seen that happen though, where it's like it's a challenge for the fighter, and then the wizard's like, I can't hit with my staff, so they don't even try.
Well, you can do other things. I mean,
hide?
no. Well, yeah, you could do that, but what I would do is pick up a handful of dirt, throw it in the face of the enemy. It's an area effect tack. You can probably hit him with it, and you might be able to blind him to give your buddy the fighter an extra bonus.
We'll get to that in a little bit too.
We will we?
Fighting ability up here, and I'm not trying to rush them along. I just want to show that it tells you how to use the chart up here. Mm-hmm. Fighting ability tells you, there you go, FA, fighting ability. Just go down there. So if you don't want to take our word for it, it's right there in English. Armor class, spelled with a U, because, I don't know.
Because of British nonsense. Because
he's from New Hampshire.
All right, whatever. Now, the attack modifiers, what we were talking about earlier, this is attribute modifiers or situational modifiers, something that will change the result of your roll because of mitigating factors like really, really strong, really weak, really dexterous, clumsy as shit, stuff like that. Are you fighting on ice? Are you fighting in oil? Whatever. That is going to change everything. You're blind, you're invisible, you're on the high ground. Well, that doesn't matter if you're Obi-Wan, but whatever. Medium range, long range. These will all adjust your die roll, but it won't change your fighting ability. It won't change your armor class. It's just going to adjust your die roll on the chart. That's it. The chart is still sound.
Cat.
Where is...
I just moved to the next page.
You did. Let's see. Yeah, you see all the modifiers here. Defender is encumbered, defender's flanked, defender's fleeing. These are all armor class modifiers. Now
there's one thing
on the
I
left
really
side,
like. I gotta show. Why did get off my screen, PDF? As soon as I go, you know, screw it. I'll just do it this way. I love this. This is for you, Bob. If you ever watch our stuff. In most cases, conditional modifiers do not stack. You just take the best one. And I like that. One, it makes it simpler. And two, I can't stand people who are only trying, this is what I don't like about 3rd edition and beyond, D&D, is like try to find the best. It's like they're playing a miniatures game again. They're just trying to find the best little tiny position they could do to get every little +1, +2, +3, whatever. At some point, if you're invisible, you don't need to worry about anything else. You're invisible.
Ravenslayer, thank you very much for the bits. Appreciate it. And Shadzar, you found a thing. Yes, you did. We are a thing. Now, I do like that as well, because it also really helps the game master get through combat more quickly, because he doesn't have to add or subtract all these damn bonuses or minuses, and you end up getting a +10 total. No, man, you get the best one or the worst one, and you run with it. Like, for example, long-range missile fire is a -5 to your attack roll. Well,
which is the same, by the way, as 1st, 2nd edition AD&D.
Right, and if you are blind, you're -4. By that rule, you're not -9. You're just -5.
Well, except for however, missile modifiers can be cumulative. For
example,
fire.
You tricked me there, didn't you? That's what you did. You set me up.
I did not try to. I thought you were going to keep reading.
No. I saw it. I just wanted to say it like that, so just so you can go, aha. So that was good.
By the way, I have YouTube chat up, but I don't see it, so that's annoying. I see it in StreamYard, but I don't see it in YouTube.
Oh, anyway, I personally would not make exceptions like that. Singular exceptions for just missile attacks. No, F you. All right. The worst and the best. That's what you take, and that's it. That's what I would do.
Depending on circumstance. No. For example, if you're at long range and the target is well, it'd be over here. Defender is invisible or mostly concealed. I would add both of those.
Well, no. Hang on.
Or do you just mean from one chart?
Exactly. You take the best or worst from each chart. You don't add them up. Like what I said, if you're blind and you're firing at someone from long range, I would just take the worst of the rolls. And then over an armor class modifier,
that's fair. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, missile target mostly concealed. Well, guess what? The guy who's firing on you is blind. You are mostly concealed to a person that's blind. You get a +5. So in essence, the guy is -10 to hit you. But in his roll, he's -5, and your armor class is +5. That way, you don't have to add and subtract things on a single person's roll. You add or subtract on one roll, and then you modify on somebody else's stuff. It keeps it a lot simpler.
You know what I like about this chart? Both these charts?
What's that?
Is they're short.
Yes.
But meaningful.
Yeah.
Because everything else that somebody could come up with, what if I'm doing this and I decide to do a tuck and roll and blah, blah, blah? We'll get to that in a little bit. And I don't want to be hitting, I'm zigzagging. Was it serpentine?
Yeah, serpentine.
And so forth. Why can't I get a plus, blah, 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 blah? Well, actually, those will come in a little bit. These are just, I can't think of anything else that you would need to actually have a legit modifier for in the game. And again, the defender ones, same, they just kind of escalate up. Heavily encumbered, hindered, prone, stun, higher ground. They just, defenseless, et cetera, et cetera. So you can just see how it kind of just aggregates itself up.
Yep. All right, we don't need to really go to armor class modifiers defined. We understand what stunned means, what prone means.
This is a great game. Buy the book.
Buy the book. There you go. Now, combat steps. Now, this is where I'm going to cede over to Max Liao, because this is where he's done actual. I haven't done test combat with this, so
I did it so long ago.
Well,
okay.
You'd be able to explain this better.
So, determined surprise. You remember last episode? If you're not sure, go ahead and watch episode 5, part 5 on adventuring. We talked about surprise. Mm-hmm. So, depending on your class, it could be a 2 and 6, it could be a 3 and 6, et cetera, et cetera. We also talked about the ranges, 1d10, yards outdoors, 1d 3 times
Oh
10
wait,
feet indoors.
wait. We have a comment here. Why should it be simpler? It's made for college age people, not middle schoolers. Wrong. Tabletop role playing games should be able to be played by middle schoolers.
Well, so
Easily.
but that is a good comment in terms of, let's go up here. There's a weird balance that you need to have in a game, and everybody plays differently. Some people like Fate Core. I don't understand those people, but they like Fate Core.
Sure.
Other people like 3rd edition AD&D because really they just want to play Warhammer Fantasy or Warhammer 40K and pretend that they're role playing.
Yep.
I'm kind of in the middle. I want something that has enough rules, enough consistency to say, okay, you're on higher ground, have your +1 bonus. The defender, you're flanking the defender, -1 to that defender's armor class because you don't protect your flanks as well as you do your front. So I want something that will allow some tactics, but not that I have to, like Battlelords of the 23rd century, where you have to have like 7 manuals to figure out exactly what the modifiers are. I don't like that because it slows down gameplay too much. Sure, you can memorize them, but like some of those modifiers, like +3% for this, +5% if it's a little more, +7% if it's big. It's like, okay, stop.
Yeah,
It
gets weird real quick.
Right. So I look at this and I say, these are enough, but we're going to get to more later. So to be fair, for you college people, we're going to get to more.
There's math for you too.
Yes, there absolutely is. So, again, also I'm an old school player. So when I see these rules, I see 1st and 2nd edition AD&D and I got a nostalgia kick because of that. So, want to get the game you're looking to play. But yeah, that is true. You can pick and choose the ones you want to get the game you're looking to play. That's why, not all rules are one size fit all. And even like this book will say, hey, if you want to do this,
optional. See right there, check morale, optional. It's an optional rule. If you want that aspect in your game, you can have it. Here are the rules for it, but it may not be for everyone's game, so you may not even want to use it.
I don't traditionally do check morale because I have my own internalized, usually written down morale point when the creature will break or when the people will break, or so I write down like if this happens, just little notes on the side. If leader is killed, they run. If 50% of the party dies, they run or go berserk or whatever. I'll do things like that, but I don't do a check morale. It's just not the way I do things. However, it's based on the check morale. So anyway. Determined surprise, which again we talked about last week. If one side is surprised, they effectively get 1 round of combat to do what they want
for free.
If both sides are surprised, just roll initiative. If neither side is surprised, just roll initiative. Okay. Action declaration, my favorite part. I know a lot of people harp on this, like I don't like it. Well, I do. I like going around the table and say, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Yep.
Because here's why. First of all, combat is a scrum. Now, the game that I'm writing does initiative totally different than this. There's no die rolling for the initiative in the game that I'm writing because I look at it as a scrum. But in a game with die rolling, you're going to make a decision based on what is going on at that mark. So just say, call it the 10-second mark. So at the 10-second mark, click, you've got the narrative of what's going on, and now you're reacting to that. If that narrative changes, let's say 2 characters attack the same guy, or same orc or whatever, and that orc dies, well, the first player got to kill it. The second player's like, I have no actions left or whatever. This game isn't quite that punishing. Be fair. It can be. There's an optional but that's when, like a game like Earth Dawn, you get +2 to your target number for your next action because you're swinging down this, like, crap, let me go over here. You see? So the change action penalty. You have to recognize that it's a scrum, and sometimes 2 people kill each other at the same time. Sometimes your action is no longer necessary because the wizard went down and you thought the wizard was going to cast something to buff you up, whatever. And you have to change. It shows that the chaotic nature of battle. And you can do it quickly. All right, what are you doing this round? I'm attacking him. Great. What are you doing? It's when the people are like, well, Baldahar takes out his sword and with a mighty charge. No, do that when it's ready to roll your dice. Right now,
do that on your initiative. I just want to know what's going to happen generally.
Right. And then you go around, then it's like, okay, roll initiative. All right. All the ones. We're the ones. Go. All the 2s. Go. I guess in this game it'd be 6s first, but
right.
And yes, I would play this game. It says you can use decks and so forth. I would just say ties are ties because I love the ability of 2 people to actually knock themselves out at the same time. No, that's me. So anyway, you declare your actions and you roll your initiative. The side with the highest score, X first defade. Now, It's debatable if you want to do team initiative, group initiative, by monster initiative, and so forth. I do it by monster type for me, and I let each player roll his or her own initiative because I want the players to have, how do I say this, the possibility of going first or last every round. I just all players going at the exact same time. Just, I don't know. It feels weird to me. Some people like it. If that's what you do, that's what you do. But for me, all the players would roll initiative. I would roll for each monster type. So if I've got, I don't know, some zombies and a manticore and a dragon, that'd be three initiatives for me. No matter how many zombies, manticores, or dragons are. You can hold your action. So just because you win initiative doesn't mean you have to go right away. You can hold your action. And he gives an example here. The Minotaur is charging to engage the party, and Archer may delay shooting until the monster enters its weapon's short range. Well, that makes sense. You would declare that during your action. Like, I'm shooting the Manticore when it gets into short range. Or, actually, I would even allow, I'm shooting the Manticore. Okay, you rolled a 6 on initiative. What are you doing? I am waiting for that Manticore to get into short range. All right, moving on. And then you just move on. I love this. When a player dithers too long and the referee requires immediate reactions, the referee is at liberty to impose a hold action on the part of the player. Now, most experienced game masters already know that.
Yeah.
But I love that it is put in there for the inexperienced ones, because I've had players go, I don't know, but I could do this. This is giving me that look. Come on. Just hold on. No, I'm not holding on. You're holding on. Next. And then they go, but I needed to have, and I'm supposed to. No. You're in combat. It is chaotic.
There's no timeout.
What are you doing? Yeah,
There's no timeout in combat.
GM calls timeout. That's free loud. So young or experienced players may be pardoned, of course. And again, I understand that concept in there. What we used to do when we played BattleTech is we used to say you have 10. It's like chess. Once you take your hand off the piece, you don't get to move it again. Oh, crap, I should have moved him one more, and I still have a movement point. Too late, you took your hand off it, number one. Also, to equate the time, you had 10 seconds per mech. But you guys are so good and blah, blah, blah. You got 10 seconds per mech. That's just, there you go. Combat, you still have dice rolls after it. Combat is, it's not about, like, let me go forward, let me back up, let me go forward. No, you're going for, shoot, stop shooting me. Boom, boom. So, back to this game. The point that I was just trying to make there is that combat is chaotic, and this is how you represent the chaotic combat. Sometimes the action you wanted to do isn't going to happen when you wanted to, or may not happen at all. It's time to change up. Now, first strike. When two weapon-wielding melee combatants first clash, you want the longer reach weapon strikes first. There's a caveat to that. I wish this would have been worded a little differently, because if you stop right there, you're going to be like, my weapon's a 3, yours is a 4. You go first. No. If the weapon is 2 or greater, the combatant with the higher WC attacks first. And if you remember, was it episode 3 when we went through weapons? There was a chart in there for weapon class.
Yep.
There you go. So it's 2 or more. So, and that's only for the first round. So Heathen Dog may have rolled a 6 for initiative with his dagger, but I got myself here a longsword. And I rolled a 2. Who cares? I go first that first round, because as he's trying to get in dagger range of me, I'm like, 4. So, but again, only first round. And it also does not apply to missile spells, devices, and the like. I mean, I don't even think they give weapon class for those. I could be wrong. So you've declared initiative. You've rolled your dice. You've determined when you can go, or whether you're holding your action, or if you've got a first strike, a bonus, right? Mm-hmm. Now let's resolve the actions. And let me tell you, this is where the first read through, I got confused. Probably for no good reason, that I just didn't read it properly until I actually ran this with my wife. Excuse me. I was confused by this. And it's the phase 1, phase 2, because this is probably the biggest departure from Dungeons & Dragons, or from AD&D. Let's make it easy. Your first level character, you have 1 attack per round. We're not using your specializations and so forth. You just have 1 attack per round, or mastery, per round. It's real simple. And we'll get to the real chart here in a moment. Actually, we could do it now, but we'll get to that in a moment. You can choose to move, or you can choose to attack. So you rolled your initiative. Heathen Dog's got a 6. So Heathen Dog goes first. Heathen Dog can choose to move, or he can choose to attack. We go around the table. Everybody's done their move or attack or their spells or whatever they're doing. and then it goes to phase 2. Heathen Dog, what did you do first? Did you move or did you attack that first phase?
I moved.
You moved, great. Now, the second phase, you can choose to move again, or you can choose to attack. You move. I'm guessing you moved into into range of whatever you wanted to attack. Boom. So that's how. So he didn't get to attack in phase 1 because he only has 1 attack, although he could have. So a lot of this will be determined by the scenario that's happening around you. He needed to move. Per what we were talking about, he needed to move. He couldn't just attack. He had to move first. Well, there you go. There goes your attack, unless you're going to shoot a bow. If he did have the ability to attack, he could have done that and then been like, see ya. Kind of a hit and run kind of thing, which they do have rules for. So let's go down here. I am not going to look at this right here. Let's just forget about this because I found it to actually confuse the situation more for me.
So wait. The basics of this is each round has 2 phases.
And I'm going to show the chart in a moment. There's a better chart.
There's a better chart. Okay.
Yeah. So look at this. You get 2 attacks. So if you have 5 attacks every 2 rounds, you're a higher level character. You get 2 attacks the first round, 3 attacks the next round. The way it was always supposed to be in D&D, but everybody plays it backward. Everybody I know, when it's 3 attacks every 2 rounds, they do 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. It's supposed to be 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Not that it matters that much, but still.
Yeah.
So let's go to the chart here. Here we go. It tells you, and this is the part I didn't see, or I glossed over and didn't pay much attention to, that why I was confused. Phase 1 here, phase 2 there. Also, the layout of this got me. I'm a pretty exacting person. I'm kind of a perfectionist in the negative way. So everything you've seen so far is phase 1 on top, phase 2 on bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even this chart here, phase 1 on top, phase 2 on bottom.
Sure.
Now, I get it. This is in English. However, it confused me for whatever reason to have phase 1 on the left and phase 2 on the right. Until I actually sat back and said, wait a second. So I was like, wait a minute. So I can attack and then I can move? What's going on here? I'm confused. Again, it was a literacy problem on my part. But the point being, if you have 1 melee attack, which includes charge attacks, it's always 1-1 if you're a cataphract, you can on phase 1 choose to attack. And if you do that, you can choose to either move half your movement rate or hold your action.
For phase 2.
For phase 2, yep.
Right.
If you choose to move half and attack, yes, you can do both. But that you only have 1 attack, so you're done attacking. You can choose to move your other half or hold action. You can choose to move half, because like Heathen Dog did, he had to move into range, and then attack, move again, and attack. So see, again, you got to read these commas here.
Right.
So you can move half and attack, or you can move half and move a half again and attack. You can hold action. Attack. Okay, you see how this is working.
Yes.
Let's go to something a little more complex, like
Missile fire is a little more complex, but
well, I'll do the 3 to 1. I was going to say that you could do the 3, the 5 every 2, but that would just be alternating between the melee 2-1 and melee 3-1. So let's just do melee 3-1. You can take all 3 of your attacks in phase 1. Sometimes you're going to sit there like, duh, why wouldn't I do that?
well,
In phase 2, or hold action. You can move 1/2 and take all of your attacks in phase 1. Maybe the presumption is there's no chance in hell I'm going to defeat this thing in 1 round, so let me just whip it all out right now and do as much as I can. And then in phase 2, move a half or hold action. Or, obviously, you can choose to move half and attack 1, and then take 2 attacks. Or move half and half. You see how this is going here?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. You have to watch the commas.
Yes.
Gotta watch out. Move half and attack once, followed by attack twice. Move a half and attack once, followed by move half. Move half and attack once, followed by move half and attack 2 times.
I see where this is getting pretty complicated for someone who's just reading it. I get it. Yes.
But
it does make sense, but you really got to work it. You have to do it.
You have to pay attention to the damn commas.
Yes, the commas are important. But to really understand this, intellectually you can get it, but until you actually do it, you're not going to know it.
Once you put it, I'm telling you, it clicked. Once I did and remember, my wife doesn't play these games at all. She was just sitting there to be somebody on the other side and roll a die. She didn't care what she was doing. She wasn't happy about being there, whatever. But once it was there and we just kind of ran through around it, I think we did 2 rounds total. Bam, it was there. It was okay, makes perfect sense now. I get it. You can do everything in phase 1 except for you can't do a double move. Caveat to that later. You can move half and do all or any number of attacks that you have available to you until you're out. Same with phase 2. You can move half and do any number of attacks you still have available to you. If you remember it that way, you're golden.
Right.
Now, this is where it gets a little weird. Missiles are basically the same thing. You can fire, move. However, firing takes up your movement action. You can't move half twice and fire. You have to stop to pull the bow back or to take aim with the crossbow and fire. So it's
more like bracing yourself, because if you're going to use a bow or crossbow, whatever, you have to take a stance. You have to plant yourself down on the ground, so that negates your half of your movement. I get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to speak too much on this. It's actually easier, the missile combat, than it is the melee combat, because you can see they have less options here.
Yeah.
Here's where Ethan Dog doesn't like it. Combat. Your choices are to cast a spell and hold your action in phase 2, or to move or hold and cast a spell. You cannot cast a spell followed by a move. This is the only one that does that.
Yeah. Well, no, it isn't. Scroll back up to the missile fire.
You can fire and fire and move.
Yes, but if you use all of your fire actions, you can't move.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's the same. Okay, yeah, you're right. If you have more than one,
yeah.
If you take them, you're right.
So they kind of did it to missile fire as well, but they fully fucked over spellcasters. Where they're like, hey, the moment you're going to cast a spell is the moment you're done moving. That's it.
Yes.
And
that round,
I can understand it, because you also have to plant yourself to do the gestures and the chanting and stuff like that. So I get it. I understand it. I hate it.
Well, you play casters. So do I.
Yeah.
But it doesn't bother me. The only thing I didn't like when I first read the rules, but again, like you said, I get it. I don't have to like it. Is I didn't understand why I can't cast a spell, or if I cast a spell, I have to hold action. But if I'm using a wand,
I can move.
I can move.
Well,
I get it. A wand
that
is a quicker, like, Zeeble Brewbox, whatever. I get that, but I don't know. It just seems weird to me.
I personally, I would not use this the way it's written. I would allow someone to cast and then do their half movement. I would. I would.
I'm looking real quickly to see if there's a reason on here.
It didn't. I couldn't find a written reason why. I can only make assumptions because of the way they also treated missile fire.
I thought I read a quick blurb about it, but maybe not. Oh, melee actions. Here we go. This is actually in the next chapter. Well, how about this? You can go back to talking about the actual actions now, and then when we get to spellcasting. But first of all, did everybody understand the round? We haven't really been paying attention to chat nearly as much as we're supposed to be.
I have.
Okay.
They're not talking to us. They're talking to each other. Okay. Which is great. Cool. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to make sure we're not missing anything here. But does anybody have any questions about how the round works? So again, if we go back up to here, there it is right here. Determine surprise only for round 1. Obviously, we talked about that last week. Declare your actions. Some people may just mash these two together. I don't, but some people will. Resolve them with your dice rolls, and then check morale, which is optional. And the PDF I'm showing here is not the full book. It's just the player book, so I don't have a morale. I don't have a creature I can show you, but creatures do have morale, and it's rolling 2d6. And so a morale of 7, or I'm sorry, a morale of 8.
We're going to get to morale right now. It has its own section. Morale measures the confidence, discipline, and courage of monsters and NPCs. It is tested with the morale check.
What page?
It's where the casting sequence is, page 247. Right there.
Oh, okay, there it is, right there. Yeah. Yep. 2d6.
That one or more monsters and/or NPCs might break ranks and flee. Now, monster NPCs are represented by a morale score ranged from 2 to 12. That's where the 2d6 comes in. Creatures of the lowest morale 2 will probably not fight at all. But if they do fight, they're going to be scared off real quick because you roll that 2d6. If it is greater than the morale score, they failed their morale check. That's easy.
So an average is 8.
Yeah. Well,
because 7. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Average is 7. Average is 7.
Make a morale check is equal to no. It'd be 8 because equal to or less than the subject's morale score. It continues. To fight.
It's a threshold. Okay, sorry. Equal to or less. Okay, got it. All right. Because so if you have a morale 12, you can't exceed that on a morale check, which means they're never going to break. But when do you roll this stuff? When do you roll to see if the creature, NPC, or monster, whatever, will break or has a possibility of breaking? Well, when the leader's killed, half of them are killed. They see some awful sorcery, like I'm talking like Cthulhu-esque nightmare shit. Like the person next to them gets a spell cast on them, and you see it, and it causes their bones to tear out of their body in a horrible, grotesque fashion, and you get blood all over the side of your body where your friend formerly was. Now he's just a pile of chunky salsa. Guess who's making a morale check? You're making that morale check. I'd give you some minuses too, because that was really cool. But if you're outnumbered, the enemy has flyers and you don't. You attack the enemy and the arrows bounce off of him. Morale check time, stuff like that. So if you take a significant hit point loss, like you're at half hit points after round 1, you're like, whoa, okay.
Which in the old days that was actually a system shock rule.
Yeah, I would say that I left all the ovens on and I got to go home and check that. So I'm leaving. So how to make the morale check? Like I said, it's easy. You roll 2d6 equal to or greater than the morale score. They fail. If you have a morale of 12, you can't fail because it's always going to be equal to or greater. It's always going to be equal, at least. So they're going to win.
That is so weird. My chat shows up, but I'm not seeing Shadzar's chat. And I have it set to live.
Oh shit, Shadzar. He put up a upkeep, untap, draw, main phase.
Yeah,
he's equating. He's
magic.
equating to magic. Yeah. Hey, you know what? It's the same mindset. What they're trying to do. They're trying to make combat to be in specific steps. So nothing will be skipped, nothing will be missed, everything will be gotten to and in the right order. Like I remember playing Magic before the stack, and you're like, oh, that stack's pretty easy. Yeah, I don't know why it even had it. It's obvious. No, it wasn't obvious. It was not obvious before the stack. Anyway, after that comes combat actions.
Beforehand, so Heathen Dog and Max, this is Ravenslayer's paragraph here.
Oh, Jesus.
All at the bottom it says, look, we know what it says. I think he's trying to say that you can play it how you want. We know that already. Yeah. It's just I'm reading it off of the way the rules as written because that's what we're going before us. So yes, some referees, I understand why Heathen Dog said we could do differently. I'm reading it as like, this is the way you're supposed to do it because this is the way the game was intended. Would I be mad if somebody else did it differently? No. Yeah, we have the PDF right here. It's right here. It's right there. I know. So it's talking about, unless you're just trying to equate with me where I was saying that, some will mash those two together and so forth. Yes. Hopefully we're not reading every line here, but
no.
Yeah. So everybody's going to, run the game the way they want to.
Right.
The first time I run through this game, I'm going to run it rules as written, raw. And then I'm going to figure out through the course of the game what works, and then so on and so forth. The only thing I'm going to do differently is it's going to be a D&D type game, not this game, and I'm going to add in.
Oh, no, I love having no demi-humans. That's just like, that's awesome. I love it. Demi-humans are the bane of any game. Oof, they're awful.
Okay.
Human master race. Anyway.
Well, I play humans. I'm just saying, like, I like them in the games as I like the stereotype tropes that they represent.
Yeah. People really love variety, but if all the variety is just lesser than you, there's no reason to have it. Demi-humans are just lesser things. Anyway, here follows a selection of actions in typical combat. These are the actions you can take in combat. We don't have to read them all,
no.
But for melee, of course, unarmed combat.
Now,
Now,
I've read through these rules.
I know, but so that means you can tell us the difference between unarmed combat and armed combat, because in armed combat you have weapon size, which will determine your fighting order. But we also said earlier that natural weapons, now they only said this for monsters or NPCs, natural weapons are exempt from that. Is that also true for hand-to-hand combat?
No.
For see, why do the monsters get special treatment?
Unarmed attacks are considered weapon class 0 because monsters, those are natural weapons. Well, you could say, well, my fists are natural.
Yeah, if you're a trained pugilist, it's a natural weapon.
We're not animals. We're not trained instinctually like that. So that's the way I would describe it anyway.
That's pretty thin to me.
Well, you know what? I could still, if I have a 6-inch dagger, I'm still going to reach you before your punch reaches me. Now, it is still, armed combats will attack first unless they wield WC1 weapons. So what the point is, it's still a 2 reach difference. So if you're just wielding a dagger, WC1, you actually don't get to fight to attack first.
No.
You have to have at least a short sword.
Right.
So, and now I'm going to be honest with you. I read through these rules. I did not test them. What I said was like, oh crap, at least this is better than the chart they gave you in 2nd edition because it's more meaningful. It's kind of like what Forbidden Lands did with grappling. However, until I run into the situation where I actually need to use this and slow down the game because of it, I'm like, dude, they're not bad rules. It's just I don't have the experience with them. So,
all right. See, for me, I would not have an unarmed combat centered character, because the first round, if he's facing anyone with a short sword or higher, he gets beat on, and he can't do anything about it. He just gets beat on.
Doesn't necessarily get beat on. It's just that person gets to attack first for one round.
That's
the way it was in AD&D also.
The weapon speed thing, yeah.
No, not even weapon speed. Any armed person automatically in the first round win. And I know this because my last character was absolutely based on punching and wrestling. So I had all those charts and rules. Anybody with a weapon went before somebody who was grappling. Now, on the flip side, once you were in that, especially with wrestling, once you were in that wrestling mode, the person with the weapon couldn't hit you well unless it was a dagger, because you were inside the weapon's reach. But that first round, you were absolutely vulnerable. It makes sense to me.
Okay.
What I don't know, and this is what I'd have to spend time on stuff like this, is how much does this slow the game down? Is it just that because I don't know it? Is that why it's slow?
Grappling,
or is it actually problematic?
Pummeling, overbearing, knocking down, stuff like that. All of the hand-to-hand, wrestling type combat. We're not gonna really go deep into it, because
to be fair,
it has a lot of stuff that is just special, just itself. Where
Forbidden Lands had a lot of this, and it was easy.
Yeah,
it's just to be very clear about this. This might be easy. Forbidden Lands looked just like this until I went through it and actually ran it, and then it's like, oh, that's actually easy. It just makes sense. You just have to get used to it. So this may be the same way.
Now, the very first attack we come up that I consider special is the charge attack, because this includes a double move.
Mm-hmm.
So a running attack, which is a double move, made by a man or humanoid armed with a melee weapon. This action is a single attack that supersedes standard attack rates. Thus, a 3/2 melee attack rate fighter can perform a charge attack and then go into his normal attack rate of 1 attack the next round and 2 attacks the following round. If you do a charge attack, you are giving up the rest of your attacks for the phases of that first round, of that round you're in. You're giving up the rest of your attacks because you are fully committing to this single attack. After this single attack's done and you've stopped your charge, you can go back to your normal attack rate, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 1, whatever it is. I don't know. But
the whole point
charge
is to
attack
get you into combat.
So what do you get in return for that? How special is this charge attack? It has to occur in phase 1, apparently.
The only thing I know is there's a penalty.
No, if you
charges
are
gain +2 damage bonus.
There you go. But if you are a half move away from your opponent, Your charge attack happens in phase 1. If you are more than a half move away, up to a full movement away, your attack is held effectively until phase 2, because you cannot reach the person until the end of your
That makes
run.
sense.
Yeah, which does make sense perfectly. Now, getting a +2 was charges get a +2 damage bonus, though they lose any dexterity bonus to armor class. If no dexterity bonus applies, a -1 penalty is suffered. That sounds like it's not worth it to me. It really sounds like it's not worth it to me.
It's all situational. It depends on if I mean, I don't do math when I play. In fact, I despise that shit. So I don't look at this as like, oh God, I would never do that. I look at it as situational. Like, I need to get there. That person is coming down with a sword to lop the head off the virgin that we just saved from the tower. I have to run in there, and I'm going to do it. That's how I look at it.
Okay, yeah, Hail Mary type thing. Basically,
right.
is what
I don't look at it like as a tactic. Like,
No.
what is the best for me right now? And it's like I said, I hate that min-maxing type stuff. That's why I hate 3rd edition.
I understand too, but I do believe that a charge should have a significant bonus and a significant minus. Now, right
There are
now,
weapons that give you that. If you have the right weapon, you will.
Yeah, but you know, if I charge with a spear on a horse, I expect a very significant bonus to
that's different.
that attack.
That's mounted. That's
exactly. Yeah, which is later, which is right there. Yeah, which is right there. But even charging with a handheld weapon on foot should give me more than a +2 damage bonus. But it really should give me a minus. The minus the no dexterity modifier I get, but if no dexterity bonus applies, if I can't lose dexterity, I get penalized even more. Fuck you. No. You lose your dex bonus because you are not actively dodging and weaving because you are charging. So you lose any bonus that you have to dex. I get it. That makes sense. But also, if you don't have a dex bonus to lose, you lose something else. That's just being mean.
I would have to see it in action first before I can judge it fully, especially with some of the side rules when we get to them later.
Yeah, that's just being mean in my opinion. So
I don't like that
off
too much. The cuff. I get what you're saying, and I do think that +2 might not be enough. But again, not knowing fully how, especially at higher levels, how this game plays out.
Right. Now, if you really want a useful charge, then you'll go up to the mounted. The mounted charge. Horsemen make a mounted charge so long as his target is at least 60 feet away and the path is relatively straight. A ground must be level and free of obstruction. A mounted charge cannot be performed in the same terrain type such as force. Okay, seriously. This is a very, very specialized attack. It can be done in a certain circumstance and no other. The reason being is because you get a whole lot of bonus for it. Okay, it is a killer attack. So it can't be done all the time. I get it. So what happens when you actually charge someone on a horse
so you get a +1 bonus versus footman, +2 damage bonus.
And a +2 damage bonus.
The mounted
if
charge
the mounted charge
or
couches with a great spear, weapon damage dice are doubled instead. In lieu of the +2 damage bonus, you get a double.
I knew I read somewhere that certain type of weapons were meant for this. So.
Yes. Lances and great spears, the big long ones, they do double damage instead of +2. There is where you do.
Look at the cataphract.
Is damage did it make an amount of charge? Oh.
A cataphract fighter subclass triples his damage dice. But wow. that's like the cavalryman from Earthdawn. It's his
exactly.
Trick.
Yeah, that's his big deal. That's his claim to fame. If he charges you on a mount with a lance, you die. Okay. What's the damage for a lance? Is it like 2d6, 2d8, something like that?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Double that.
Or triple it.
triple it if you're a cataphract, sure.
But and this game is very clear about that. Doubling and tripling is not math; it is number of dice.
Number of dice, yeah. Not the end result, just the number of dice you roll. So instead of 2d6, you're rolling 46. Instead of 2d6, you're rolling 66.
And other damage bonuses are added after the
afterward. Yeah, if you have a strength bonus, that's added after the dice are rolled, added to the result, and not before doubling or something. So yes, So charging on foot with a non-spear, stupid. Charging on a horse with a spear, awesome. If the situation is correct, if the situation is good. Usually it's not going to be. I mean, you really have to be, level plains type combat for a spear or lance charge to be truly effective. But
but that's the way. I mean,
yeah,
historically, that's
that's the way it works. I mean, you can't be dancing around trees and charging people. It doesn't work. You're not going to get the full weight of the horse behind you.
Imagine if your party had 3 cataphracts in it. Not saying that that's a good party, but imagine you had 3 cataphracts and you're in the open plains.
You're fucked. You're running.
Well,
if you're against them, you're running
you
away.
You are them as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you are them, then you're gonna win that fight. Like, oh no, he's facing a level 12 troll. I don't know, man. After round 1, that troll's gonna be tough. No.
In the dungeon either. I mean, no, they're not the peak, but they're not slouches in dungeons.
No, they're not. But what you got is 3 attacks of 66 apiece, and then they just jump off their horse at the end of that charge and draw their sword to finish the job, which is not going to be much of a job at this point. It's just going to be a mop up because you're probably chunky salsa.
Typical games have set versus charge. Do you really want to read all this here?
No, we don't need to do that.
Most games have.
Yeah, most games. Yeah, if someone is charging you, you set your spear. You angle it toward them and you attack the horse or you attack them. That's how it works. Missiles. Firing into melee is dangerous because if you miss the one you're going for, you're going to hit the one you're not trying to attack. And that happens. Fine. If you don't want that to happen, you get the attack penalty. Firing at a -2 attack penalty. Threading the needle.
That's only at short range.
Yeah. However, if this attack roll is a natural 1 to 3 and this result qualifies as a miss, then the ally is targeted instead. The shooter must make a new attack roll, also at a -2 attack penalty, to see if he hits the ally. So yes, firing into a melee where you have friends, probably not the best idea.
Only short range. That's the one thing that when I first read that rule, I was like, oh damn, so it's not an option if the target's at medium or long range.
Nope.
Instead, each combat friend or foe stands equal chance to be hit, which again, I don't want to say makes sense, but you shouldn't be doing this.
yeah. I mean, if you have no friends in that fight, who cares?
I don't even know what you're talking about, Mar Hockman, so I'm not answering that.
All right, so flask hurling. This is your basic grenade type situation where there's splash damage and there's a little bit of randomness, I imagine, in where it hits.
Did you want to talk, because you were mentioning the whole throw dirt in somebody's eye earlier? Did you want to?
Yeah, go ahead and hit that.
So to make it easy, if you're throwing a holy water at something or throwing a Greek fire at something or whatever they call it in this game, depending on where you're trying to throw it, it's a straight up D20 roll.
Yep. I'll be back in a sec.
So if the target is stationary, like an unaware man, you only need a 7 or higher and you hit. If it's large, over 8 feet, 9. Medium, 11. Small, 13. So depending on what you're throwing it at, it's just a roll and you hit the area. And then from there, you do get to add your dexterity modifier. I thought so. I would have mentioned that before, but I couldn't remember. And they have typical dagger ranges. So a lot of this is going to be referee interpretation, but yeah, it's actually kind of easy to throw ranged weapons. This might be what you have your wizard do, just because he's got the, he won't have a dexterity bonus, won't need it because, hopefully you're throwing at something large, you're throwing it at something that's not moving, get it on there. You can throw lamp oil, incendiary oil, holy water. This is the important one to me. It's holy oil, holy water. 1d8 damage per round for 2 rounds. So it does finally steam off, but if the target is missed by a score of 2 or less, so 1 or 2, a splash delivers 1d4 hit points damage for a round. I like the splash damage rule. Didn't somebody just ask for splash damage a moment ago? Anyway, so there are splash damage rules. It's only 1 or 2, and I thought that was pretty ticky-tack. I guess what I mean by that is... I don't know, when I picture it throwing and breaking, I picture it splattering. I think, I don't know, me personally, I think it should be more than 2 or less, like maybe 4 or less. But, I mean, that is also 20%. So who knows on a D20. Missiles of movement. I'm not going to go through the rest of the stuff. I mean, you can set stuff on fire. It tells you about damage and so forth. But missiles of movement. A missile shooter normally is entitled to more than 1 shot per round. This is what we were talking about before. May move half and forfeit 1 attack. So yes, it says here. It doesn't say why, but it does say here. And I'll let magic. So again, it's not saying why. Oh, here we go. Maybe it does say it down here. So casting a spell puts a sorcerer in a vulnerable position. Spacing and distance from enemies is of grave import. If a sorcerer is engaged in melee with an enemy and attempts to cast a spell, he's effectively hindered, -2 armor class penalty. Furthermore, if a spellcaster is struck whilst casting, he will lose his spell unless the optional concentration check is utilized. I tend to allow the concentration check because I'm kind of pro wizard.
Well, I'm pro getting screwed because of a bad die roll. No, I'm not. I'm anti getting screwed because of a bad die roll. If you roll badly, if you roll badly on your initiative, and that's the only reason he was able to close it on you and stab you for 1 point of damage, and you lose your 5th level spell, that is disheartening.
Well, see, and this is where I agree with you. I don't agree with that premise because I think that's just part of the nature of combat. You thought you were going to get it off first. You didn't. You moved slower. He reacted faster. You suck. But I've never, even going back to my high school AD&D days, I never liked the concept of losing a spell that I couldn't cast. So being hit, even with the rules back then, which basically said, you can't move, but you're done. By the way, 2nd edition did say that if you're casting a spell, you can't move the entire round. I never saw anybody play with that, but that is a rule in the book. But, you're clubbed in the head. You took damage. You already have like 6 hit points at 3rd level. So, if you're not dead already, and you lost your spell. I didn't mind the not casting part. I always hated the whole you lost the memorization of it part. So with this is why I agree with you. Like, yeah, let's do the concentration check. If you didn't lose the spell, then I'd say no concentration check. You just have to wait till next round to cast it.
Okay.
But, so touch spells.
That's whatever.
This is a little different.
Really?
If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I read this, but something, unless otherwise noted, armor and shield protect against touch attacks. If touch attack misses sorcerer, never mind. This isn't. Nope, I was wrong. Never mind. Let's move on.
Okay.
For some reason, I thought they used their casting ability to use touch spells. I thought I read that somewhere. That isn't fighting ability. It's casting ability.
That is a problem I have with this game. Casting ability and fighting ability look the same, but they act completely differently.
Yes.
Fighting ability is integral in melee and missile combat. It is the stat that is most important. Casting ability only affects the strength of your spells, not the actual using of your spells. And gotcha. I don't think they should look so similarly and act
the point of the casting ability.
God, I forgot what I was going to say. Blah.
Well, it was to avoid confusion though, because so many people in 1st and 2nd edition D&D, you and I may look at this as like, how is that confusing? Because we've played for years. But what do you mean spell level? I'm 9th level. Well, yeah, but you're only spell level, only 4th spell level or 3rd spell level, whatever that was then. No. But I'm 9th level, and no, you only cast at 3rd level. So what the what do you call this? The casting ability was supposed to do is just forgo all of that. Nobody cares about your casting level versus your character level versus your whatever level. You are, the fact that you only have 4th level spells when you're actually a 10th level character. No, you have just casting ability. And I think that was the point of it, was just to alleviate the entire conversation.
Yeah. I just wish it didn't look so goddamn similar to fighting ability and be completely divorced from function.
I could have sworn though, I actually want to, No, we'll do it later. I could have sworn that this game said, I read so many games, so maybe I do have it actually confused, but I could have sworn that this game actually treated touch spells as casting ability for the target. But
it doesn't seem so.
Yeah, it doesn't seem so, and I don't want to confuse people who are watching. I could just be wrong about that.
Yeah.
Okay, again, I'm seeing Shadzar's chat in StreamYard, but not in YouTube, and I don't understand why.
Okay. Removing the loss of the spiel is how you get 3E and overpowered wizards and useless fighters.
Well, so
removing loss of spell. Okay, spellelio.
Yeah, so third edition tried to balance more, and in a way, they succeeded. In terms of, in first and second edition, everybody hated being a first level wizard, but wanted to be the 20th level wizard. Yeah. Everybody loved being the first level fighter, but felt useless unless you're just given all types of magic items, felt useless as the 20th level fighter. It's just how the game changed. But to me, that always kind of felt like, well, if you can survive as the wizard, you deserve the reward at the end. Yeah. As the warrior, you were never worthless because you always had the Thaco. Or the fighting ability in this one, the combat matrix,
and the ability to get up to someone taking the damage.
Yes,
get up there to be able to hit them, which you're going to do probably because you have the best Thaco in the game. So right. Yeah, I mean, you have utility throughout all your levels.
But third edition, I did feel made casters too powerful at low level, especially clerics at low level. And kind of, I don't want to say downgraded them, just kind of made the flare, since maybe it's because the flare was already there, made the flare at high level just kind of like, I'm just doing my job. There you go. There's my rote fireball. Oh, there's my rote lightning bolt. I guess those are mid level, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, it just kind of took the fun out of it when in first and second edition, all of a sudden you're throwing a time stop and geese and, disintegration, roll or die. Or power word kill, roll or die. And what, or was that 60 points? Or which one was 60 points? Was that disintegration?
Finger of death.
Finger of death. Okay. You had these things. It's like, even if you save, good luck, pal. Yeah. Third edition took a lot of that away, and fifth edition, I mean, they're all just born superheroes now, so it sucks anyway. Yep. But fighter goes up, slaps the enemy wizard, you get lightning bolted because you forgot the spell.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, we don't get that. Like, he smacked and the started crying and he forgot his whole spell. No, I don't think so.
No, but he is right. Having the wizard's downfall is what keeps. I just didn't like. I just didn't like the loss of memorization. I did not have a problem at all with the inability to cast a spell. Yep, you took 1 point of damage and you have 30 hit points as a high level mage. You took 1 point of damage. You can't cast that spell this round. So whatever you're trying to do isn't happening. Okay, next round you try again. You took 1 point of damage. You can't cast that spell. I don't have a problem with that. I had a problem with losing the memorization of it. I'm not saying it's wrong or bad or horrible. It just felt like
mean. It's mean.
It's mean because game masters don't always play creatures like creatures that just attack the closest thing to them or attack the thing that hurt them. They're like, oh, that's the one wearing the shiny arm or the robes. Let me attack that first. Which, sure, maybe, an experienced orc or something would do that, or an experienced party, or definitely a dragon. But it's weird how the displacer beast was always attacking the cleric and the wizard first. Which doesn't necessarily make sense. So that's why I ran into the problem with the whole losing spell memorization. It's like, should I even bother? Should I even bother casting a spell? Well, that's what you have magic items for. So I agree with Heathen Dog in the premise. I just think that, a good game master, I don't want to say won't target the wizard because that's not right. A good game master is going to look at the creature that he or she is using and use it appropriately. The monkey is not just going to go after the dude in the robe.
No.
Okay. Or send the rust monster after the paladin in his magic armor. Well, the armor would get a save, first of all. But yeah, I mean, it's like but then again, the rust monster does feed on that.
Feed on metal, sure.
So I could see it. But going just after the paladin and not, say, the warrior or the cleric, then I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because it isn't going to know the difference. But yeah. Okay,
now,
so
that's okay. And now we get to turning undead. And we'll just skip down to the chart because that's really all you have to see. This is a D12 roll
plus charisma.
Right? plus charisma. Charisma is a modifier, modified to the number of your roll. So you roll the 2d6, right? 2d6.
D12.
It is a d12. Okay, good.
Yeah,
There it is. There it is.
it
1
tells
to
you,
12. There it is. 1 to 12. So you roll the d12. You add your charisma modifier, and you look just like fighting ability and armor class. This is turning ability and undead type. All right. Now, what is undead type? Well, we look down here in the list, and where's it? Where's that listed?
Well, it's listed
Undead
with the
type.
creature.
Each undead creature has a type number noted in volume
Yes.
4, which is under the description of all of the monsters and creatures and stuff.
Yes, which I don't have in this PDF. I'm using the players,
okay.
not the full book.
That doesn't matter. The stronger the creature, the higher their undead type. Okay, that's pretty much all you got to know.
Which,
All right,
you know what? I prefer this to the way we're used to, which is like skeleton and then zombie
Right,
and then
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah.
Because now you can make whatever undead you want, call it whatever you want, and just give it a type.
Give it a type. Boom. Type 7. Look at that. So if you're a newbie and you come up on, say, a Lich Lord, probably going to be type 10 or higher, you cannot turn this. NT. Sorry. I don't care what you roll. It's not going to work. You suck. You're not cool enough for this. There you go. But let's just say, you have a turning ability 5. That means you're a 5th level cleric or priest or whatever. And you are facing some skeleton remains of kobolds. I'm going to say they're undead type 0.
0, okay.
Yeah. You just destroy them. D is destroyed. You didn't turn them automatically. They blew up. They turned to dust. Now, where is the key for this?
I don't
see a key either.
Oh, here you go. Destroyed. Indicates 2d6.
Here we go.
It's the same thing. Again, the same thing as
as first and second edition.
ultimate destruction. This is different.
Indicates 1d6 plus 6 undead are completely exorcised or destroyed, crumbling and rapidly decaying. Whereas regular destroyed indicates 2d6 undead are completely exorcised, destroyed, crumbling, and rapidly decaying.
Now, why is this different?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, to enhance the chart. But notice the difference. This is 2d6. You could roll a 2. Here, even if you roll a 1, you're getting a minimum of 7.
Exactly. But what it's doing is instead of the 2d6 roll, which you could flub and get 2, you're only getting a 1d6 roll, and basically it's giving you a maximum of the second d6.
Krantz made a very good point there.
What's that?
And actually, I wanted to comment on something that Shadzar said also.
Demons
I can't remember if it was like it in 2nd edition, but in 1st edition, demons of opposite alignment were, at least of opposite alignment, if not all of them, were also considered turnable. Now, not the named gods and and demigods and so forth, but demons were turnable in 1st edition as well. I can't remember if they were in 2nd edition. And quickly on Shadzar, I can tell you that my cats and my neighbor's dogs cannot differentiate between steel-toed boots and slippers. So I'm not saying that a lion isn't going to see something going clunk, 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 clunk in all metal armor and go, I don't think I can chew through that versus somebody wearing a dress. I get that point. But generally speaking, I'm talking more about the game master side. A Pride of Lions or Jackals, whatever the hell their group is called, they're going to go for either the closest or the one that looks the weakest. If one's tagging behind, yes. But if the paladin's the one that's lagging behind, the one that's kind of singled out, an animal would naturally go for that one instead. And the ranger should be the one to tell the paladin that, like, hey, man, need you to kind of limp along back there, buddy. Because otherwise we're about to get attacked. And, Mr. Dresswear here, he isn't going to make it. But for me, it's more about the game masters always attacking the wizard and cleric no matter what the creature is. Mysteriously, everybody knows that's the wizard and that's the cleric. And the fighter's like, what's my job? Which is why I like that MMOs have a taunt. I don't want that in a real game, but that's why I like that MMOs have a taunt.
All right. So, and there are other rules for commanding undead if you're evil, but you're not supposed to be evil, man. You're supposed to be a good guy. All right.
Not in this game. No.
Shut up.
Not
You're
in this
supposed
game.
to be heroes. So we're not even talking about it. It shouldn't exist. All right. And then, of course, there's stuff like other special abilities, magic items, magic and movement. Magic devices, as we spoke earlier, they have a different initiative modifier type thing than, say, regular weapons. they have the weapon class, stuff like that, and spells obviously
they just go when spells go.
Yeah. And spells obviously you can't move after you do a spell, but you can move after you do a magic item, a spell-like ability from a magic item. You can still move,
or a druid shape change.
Well, apparently a shape change as well, even though I would think that a shape change would take a lot of time. And I'm thinking of American Werewolf in London, where it took like 5 minutes for him to change. And it was really, really painful looking because it's bad.
I don't see any excuse. I was trying to reread this to see if there's any excuse that says why. I don't see anything.
Magic movement, I don't see it either. Yeah. If the spellcaster elects to move before casting and is struck while advancing, his spell will not be disrupted. For example, Mitch takes his half move before casting fireball spell. He gets stabbed in phase 1. He's not in the middle. He's not started casting yet, so he can't lose it. That's nice, I guess. That's good. Okay.
I've got nothing to add to that.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. And then we get to regular movement. The combatant can advance a standard movement rate in feet per round or make a double move, run, or charge. Note that any running movement causes a loss of dexterity bonus to armor class or a -1 AC penalty if no dex bonus applies. Again, I hate that. I hate that rule. Regardless of whether the movement culminates in a charge attack or not. So whether you make a charge attack at the end of your double movement is just inconsequential to your minuses because of your running. It's the same idea as making normal movement in a dungeon. Sure, you'll go twice as fast, but you're going to hit every trap. You're going to miss every secret door. You're going to be surprised by everything around a corner because you are throwing caution to the wind.
Now there will be caveats to this in the advanced combat, which I think we'll have to tackle that next week.
Yeah, because it's getting pretty long. But your movement rate 60 is usually for flyers and horses and shit like that. But your standard move is 60 feet. Double move is 120 feet. Sounds right? You have movement of 60. You move 60 feet for a half move. You have 30 feet in phase 1 and 30 feet in phase 2, or your full movement. You can go all 60 feet in phase 1. Now the double move is the running or charging. This is where you can cover a lot of ground, but you lose your dex bonus, or you get your -1 to AC throughout the entirety of the entire round. Phase 1 and 2, you are affected by this negative armor class adjustment because you are actively running the entire time. And target of opportunity, wow, do they even have that here? Like attack of opportunity?
Sort of, not in the manner that you're used to. It's more like the first and second edition manner, which is you need to break combat and so forth. But
okay, got it. All right,
right here. I thought it was gonna be in advance, but it's right here.
It's right there. There it is. Now, encumbrance and combat movement. Now, encumbrance slows all movement, and it slows combat movement as well. An encumbered combatant suffers -10 to the movement and -1 AC penalties. A heavily encumbered is -20 movement and -2 to AC penalties. We saw that earlier in the chart.
Thank you. I was going to say what I like about this, unlike movement when trying to make a character, is that this is in multiple locations. You saw this both in the armor section, and you saw this last week when we were talking about you saw it this week.
Yeah, this week in the armor section, and now in the movement section, and all that stuff. Yeah. It's in multiple
modifiers.
Places.
There we go.
Yeah, it's easily seen in multiple places. Whereas the base movement of 40 is mentioned in under movement in one sentence, the very last sentence, right, and it's basically hidden. I mean, it's really hard.
An envelope that's sealed.
It basically,
and if you unseal it, the genie comes out.
Now, backpedaling. If you're fighting while withdrawing, a melee combatant can backpedal at 1/2 movement and continue to fight and defend, or backpedal at full movement and simply defend. Enemies may pursue a withdrawer even if they have already attacked. Withdrawing potentially allows a combatant to lure an enemy. If, however, a combatant attempts to run away or flee from a hostile situation, he suffers a -2 AC penalty, and each adjacent enemy gains a free and immediate attack. This is the only attack of opportunity right here.
I knew about this. I missed this part when I read through it.
Yes. If you turn tail and run, the moment you turn your back on an active opponent, that opponent gets an automatic attack on you with you getting a -2 AC penalty, basically them getting a +2 to hit.
Now, to be fair, that was in second edition also. A lot of people don't know that, but Attack of Opportunity was in second edition AD&D.
But it wasn't as prevalent in all kinds of attacking.
No, it was very simply written.
Yes.
If you are basically giving ground, if you're doing a strategic withdrawal, you're fine. If you just turn tail and run, it's everybody got a free attack on you.
Everybody within melee range.
Right.
Gets a free one-off attack on you, a free normal attack, not a power attack or a glaive attack or a spinning back kick, magical front face, whatever called. No, a basic melee attack on you as you turn tail and run like the coward that you are.
So I just want to say before we end this that one of the reasons why we may have been hemming and hawing a little bit more in this chapter than the other ones isn't because we hadn't read through it. It's because the fact that we want to be right and precise about the rules when we talk about them. And we don't have years of experience with this game. So like with me, I knew that this was in here. I actually thought it was in the next section. I knew this was here, but it happened to be right here. But advanced combat is going to be really fun when we get to that next week. I'm looking forward to that because I like some of the things. My favorite thing are like the arrow positioning.
Arrow positioning.
Or whatever the hell it's called. Oh, there it is right there. Arrow setting.
There you go.
Something that's awesome. But we'll get to that next week. There's a little hint. This is some of the things we'll be talking about next week. Look at that. Oh, dodge. Remember when I said we'll get to that later where there are some things that are a little different? Indirect fire. There we go. We'll talk about that next week. Now, all of these combat actions are optional. Listen.
Yes. All advanced combat is optional.
And I will tell you that right now, that as a new game master to the game, I would probably start the game off with very few of these and add them in slowly.
If any. I mean, it's especially if you're a new game master and you got new players, I wouldn't use them at all. Not in the beginning. I wouldn't use them at all.
I can understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in the beginning. Like, even I wouldn't in the beginning. And I mean, I like to consider myself an experienced game master, but I want to get the base game down first, and then we'll start adding in some of this stuff. But just to give you an idea, this is what we'll be talking about next week. This and more. It's a lot more than just this. So hopefully you like this. I'm going to take this off the screen. You can talk us out while I get some other things ready. Boom, look at that. So, I ask this every time, or something similar to this. A, what do you think of the game? B, what do you think of the general combat feel?
Well, the general combat is good. Once you get the phases thing down in your head, that's really the only hurdle for this combat system is the idea of phases. Once you can wrap your brain around that framework, you can see it. I mean, you see it happening, and each event leads to another, leads to another, and it works out. What were you doing?
I hit the wrong link and ended up playing something. Hopefully you guys didn't hear that, but it was playing loudly in my ear.
I didn't hear anything. Okay. So I do have some qualms about the whole magic thing. Like, I don't think concentration should be optional, but it is there. It is there. So the game master can use it if he wants.
Well, traditionally it didn't exist. And this game's based on first edition.
I know.
Traditionally it didn't exist.
I understand. And the whole being able to move before casting a spell, but not. I mean, and the game did not explain that to me. I would really like for the game to explain that to me, to really give me rationale that I can go, all right, I can see that. But as it stands right now, it's just baseless bullshit.
Okay, you guys, when you watch this, comment. Let us know.
Yes.
What do you know what? And I forgot to do this. I got to do it.
What?
Bam.
Oh,
subscribe. There it is. But no, let us know. I mean, do you have a good rationale as to why a caster, once he casts, he's kind of like stuck there twiddling his thumbs?
Yeah, a whole phase. He can't do anything just because he casts a spell. Come on. It's over. It's done.
I mean, I would play with the rule because, again, I would at least start the game raw. But if it didn't work for me, or if I felt that it was too punishing, I'd change it. So subscribe. Okay, Garth. I mean, I'm not Mac. I'm Max. That's right.
Well, he's typing on a phone.
I know. I always mess with him, and I'm not going to stop. See, I can't see the YouTube stuff. So okay, here we go. Seems like someone did try to organize 1E better without modern. Yeah, I think that's a really good. I consider this what third edition should have been. Now, again, it's Dungeons & Dragons, so you would have demi-humans and some other stuff. But I consider this what third edition should have been. I really do. Oh, did you take that off the screen?
Yeah, just done.
So,
all right. So that's it. Yeah, leave your comments below. Throw it up in chat right now, and tell us what you think. I mean, what do you think about the phasing system in combat? What do you think about the way it handles movement, missile attacks, movement, magic, the way it handles the quote unquote initiative modifier for your size of your weapon? It only does it from round 1, but still, how do you feel about that? Let us know.
I don't know if that existed in second edition, but
I don't think it did.
I think it did exist in first, though.
Maybe, but I don't remember that in second edition at all.
It's been so long. I got to go back. Some of the chat I've missed here. Max did start after the pizza. Here we go. So Shadzar said, pretty log. It's been 2 hours and we're only on page 10.
That is from the Oriental Adventures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now if you're showing about
to be fair, we're on page 254. So suck.
I know, right? Yeah.
It's been 2 hours. We're on page 254.
Well, really, it wasn't 2 hours because we had kind of a longer intro today, which is
that's true.
Totally fine.
That's true. Hour and a half, and we're on page 254. Yeah. I feel good about that.
And we're not critiquing. We're trying to express to you.
Yes. We're imparting knowledge and learning instead of bullshit and feelings.
Oh no, we're about to do that.
Yeah. But that's not what we're doing now.